Hey guys, Henry here from CGC. Last time I brought you a video about the Ginyu package, and I wanted to elaborate a little more on that just in case people didn't know what kind of deck that package really goes into, how to build around it, the things you can do with that deck, and just the plays in general. So I wanted to give you a deck profile on the version that I built myself. It's really fun. It's probably the funnest deck I've played so far. Just keep in mind that this is my personal take on the deck. There are a lot of other options out there. A lot of people like to mix red and green right now, or blue, and just like to take a different route with this deck. But without further ado, this was all yellow, so it's pretty easy to build. A lot of the numbers are play sets of, so it's pretty easy to build this deck. It didn't take me long. It takes you about, in terms of product, I'd say about 2 boxes if you're unlucky. So about a box and a half. So probably just better off just buying the singles. But without further ado, let's get into it. The leader I play is Ultimate Form Golden Frieza. I've played with the Ginyu leader before. I didn't like it because I'm not a fan of a best of 1 format. I like the best of 3 because I come from Magic background. So I just like I just don't like losing game 1 because it was unlucky. You didn't hit the cards you needed. Your opponent kept top decking, so on and so forth, stuff like that. So luck factor comes in every card game. So I feel he's the strongest for a best of 3, especially in this game where you can't side out your leaders. I'd rather have him as my leader than Ginyu, where he's very strong best of 1, can win game 1 really fast, and then once your opponent knows what you're playing, they can side out stuff and side in more hate on you. But yeah, I will play with Golden Frieza in this deck just to use his ability to sack one of my guys and then choose 2 of my energies and switch my active mode. So it lets me play a little better on curve. So let's go ahead and get into it. Right off the bat, we have 4 of each of the Ginyu Force from the last video here. So 4 of each. So 4 Goldo, 4 Raccoon, 4 Birder, and 4 Jace. Let's get a little more in depth of what they do here. Now Goldo is a really good turn 1 play if you're going second, I feel. If your opponent plays stuff like Boma or Boo, just anything turn 1, when it enters the field, he gets to choose a card of cost 2 or less and put it into rest mode. So it lets you KO a guy right off the bat. So what you can do is, if you have another 1-drop in hand, what I like to do turn 1 is play Goldo, rest their guy, use my leader, attack the rested guy, and then use the effect to sack Goldo, and then play another 1-drop. So it's a very nice turn 1 play. The other one is Raccoon. He's good on the defensive side, I would say, or offense. You can do it either way. He's a 10k attacker, but on your opponent's turn, he gains 6k power. So it puts him at 16, which is a very awkward number to hit. Even if they're at 15, they have to combo with a 5k just to kill a 2-drop. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't feel that is that's worth it, and it's not value for them to kill such a 10k, so they kind of just leave him on the board. So that's the good thing about him, is that he's a sticky minion for you, that he just sits on the board. The only one that really gets that doesn't feel bad about going out of the way to kill this is the Beer's leader. When he attacks, he gets to KO a 2-drop or 3-drop or less when he awakens. So that's the only one that kind of just doesn't feel punished. The next one is Birder. At the end of the turn, switch this card to active mode. So it lets you go very wide and very aggressive with this guy. So you can attack, end turn, switch him back up to active, and now he can become a combo for you defensively as well. So he's a very nice card. There's not much to say about him other than you just don't feel punished about attacking or anything like that at all. Even if they use cards such as Crushable, if you're playing against a mirror matchup, they put him in rest mode. Then at the end of the turn, you just activate him back up. So most of the time they probably won't ever Crusher Ball you, but you might run into a newer player, someone that does that stuff. So this punishes them. And then for Jace, So this deck, unlike other decks traditionally, is they generally only play 4 of the 1-drop blockers, just like Goldo is over here. In the Ginyu Force package itself, you have access to 8 blockers now. So 4 Goldo and 4 Jace. Now what makes Jace really nice is that you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and choose one Ginyu Force card other than Ginyu and play it and shuffle your deck. So you play them on turn 3, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and it happens to be any of these guys over here. You can just play them onto the field. So it's either a free 2 energy or free 1 energy. Now this is really good in the late game if you just happen to hit a top deck where your opponent likes to play 1-drop blockers just to stall the game a little bit. If you happen to hit a Goldo off the top, you just rest down their 1-drop blockers or their 1-cost free combos like Bulma or Majin Buu or just any other guys out there. And then if you happen to develop a really good board and you can keep these guys around, that's why Rikuma is kind of good. If you can just stick around on the board for a long time. The next guy is Captain Ginyu himself. I play 3 Ginyus. What he does is when he enters the field, it gives every Ginyu Force card plus 10k and double strike to end a turn. This includes himself because it doesn't say other Ginyu Force cards. And since he is a Ginyu Force card himself, he will become a 35k double striker. So now you're hitting for numbers for 35k, 20k, 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 12k. The 12k isn't that relevant, but at least it only takes you 5k to push through at double strike. And even if it's a small hit, the fact that it's double strike makes your opponent feel like they have to combo to defend themselves, because that's a lot of damage that's coming their way. So that's the main package right there, the Ginyu Force. Let's set it up here so you guys can see. So 4 Jace, 4 Birder, 4 Raccoon, 4 Golda, and 3 Ginyu. The next cards I play are 4 Avenging Frieza. Frieza is very good because he's a 1-cost. You can, when you play this card from hand, look at the top 3 cards, choose up to 1 Frieza army card among them with cost 2 or less and add it to hand. So he's a replacement effect. You play 1 on the field, you lose 1 card in hand, but if you hit a 2-drop, you put it back in hand. So you're not losing anything, and now you're thinning throughout your deck, you're searching your deck, and you got a free 5k combo on the field now. So your opponent always has to keep in mind of this guy on the field as a potential comboer. Now, he can also hit these guys up here, because not only are they Ginyu Force cards, if you notice, every Ginyu Force card is also a Frieza army card. So Frieza can hit the Goldos, the Raccoons, and the Birders. The only one he does not hit is Jace. But you have 12 targets alone right there. You can even hit himself, because even though he's Frieza, he's also Frieza's army. So if you want, you can hit him into hand and then go again the next turn. And then the other targets that Frieza can hit that I play in this deck are 4 Apul and 4 Sooey. These guys don't do much, but the thing is that they're 2-drop 15Ks. So they're very cheap for very strong numbers. They don't do much of any other effects or anything, but it gives Avenging Frieza another target to hit, so there's a less likely chance of you missing. Because if you miss with Frieza or Jace, it pretty much feels like you wasted your turn because you didn't get anything out of it. You didn't get any value. You're just down a card in hand now. You didn't get anything back for it. All you did was just play a 1-drop 5k on board. So you want your chances of hitting something a lot, as much as you can. So not only do you have the 12 Ginyu Force targets, but now you have these 8 Apul and Sooey right here. So that gives you a total of 20 cards, right? Yeah, 20 cards that you can hit off Avenging Frieza. So Avenging Frieza, you shouldn't miss as much. Jace has a higher chance of missing, but again, you're playing, what is this, 16 cards. You can use Jace, hit Jace as well, but that's generally not value. But yeah, so 4 Sooey, 4 Apul. That's my reason of playing it. And I play 2 Sorbet. So not only do I have 4 Jace and 4 Goldas blockers, I also play 2 Sorbets. The difference between this 1-drop blocker and against other decks, he's probably the best 1-drop blocker currently right now, just because he has this activated battle effect. So during your respective combo, once per turn, place 1 card from your hand to the drop area. Look at the top 2 of your deck. Choose up to 2 Frieza army cards among them and place them in the combo area. So if you flip the top 2 cards of your deck, and they happen to be two, one cost 10Ks, like let's just say you hit 2 Ginyus, you use both, and that's a free 20K that you get off the top of your deck. And of course, since it's looking for Frieza army cards, that's pretty much every card you're looking at right now on the board. So the chance of you missing is very, very unlikely. And he can help you either be very defensively on your own defensive combo step, or if you really want to push for that damage, then when you drop Ginyu or just anything, when the game is getting very close and very tense, you can just drop a useless extra card or just something in your hand that you probably wouldn't play anymore at all, and just try to hit for those combos on top. Now the cool thing is you can also hit cards like Doria. You hit Doria when you're at the 4 or less life right there. You get a 10K and draw a card. So it gives you more options of even more combo if you're going for that game right there. So you play Sorbet, you flip a Doria and a Ginyu. That's 20K. After that, draw a card off of Doria right there. And then what if you happen to hit another Doria, and you can go on, draw another card, you hit, and then you hit a 0 cost combo. So Sorbet can hit Doria and cards of that like. But there are times that he can miss because you are playing, like every deck, you do have some extra cards within the deck. So there are chances of you missing. It's not very likely, but it can happen. So that's my reason of not playing 4. To me, I'm using him more as a finisher than more as a defensive line. So I played 2. And then the next card is Doria that I just spoke of. Play 4 of him. Every color has this kind of card where it's a 0 cost, 0 combo. But when you're at 4 or less life, you draw a card, and this card gains 10K power. So, like I explained in other videos, do not mistaken that this card gives 10K for the duration of the turn for the card you're comboing with, but only to the Doria itself. So after you combo with this card, the 10K is gone. The reason they put duration of turn is because if you played this before the 4 life trigger, then it gives 0. So it pretty much gives you a line where you have to reach this number first before this card can gain the 10K. So 4 Doria's very nice card. Cheap combo, can push for damage. And like I said, Sorbet can hit off it as well. So it's just a very good card. Every color has this card, and I recommend playing 4 of no matter what. So 4 Doria. And then next up is the last of the battle cards is 4 Mecha Freezes. This card is insanely good. So it's a 4 cost, 15K dual attack. So that means after it attacks once, it can activate and attack again. So dual attack, 2 attacks. And then his auto here is what makes him really good. When you play this card, you may place 1 card from your hand into the drop area. If you do so, choose up to 2 opponents' rested battle cards and KO those cards. Then this card gains double strike for the duration of the turn. Now that's really insane because it punishes your opponent really hard for going aggressive at you. If they try to go aggressive and they didn't go for game, you drop Mecha Freeza, drop 1 card that is pretty useless in your hand. Like let's say you didn't want to play in a pool or something at that turn because it's not energy efficient. Drop them and then kill 2 of their guys. And then it gains double strike. Now, the wording on this is a little weird. Let me just confirm with people, this was from Bandai as well, that when you play this card, even if you did not discard and you didn't do the part where you KO'd 2 of the rested cards, he will still gain double strike. So nonetheless, as soon as you play Mecha Freeza, it will gain the double strike, regardless of you discarding and KOing 2 guys. There are 2 separate effects. The discarding only pertains to the KO, but the double strike will be gained on its own. So, which made the card a lot better, because before Bandai clarified on that, I thought you had to discard to do double strike too. And even then, I thought this card was amazing at a 4 of, and it's a 4 cost. Your deck kind of doesn't have a lot of 4 costs, as you can see. Actually, this is the only 4 drop I play in the deck, and it just fits out the curve very nicely. Something for you to play on turn 4 or later on when your opponent becomes a little too greedy. So this card's awesome. And that is all the battle cards for the deck. Oh, a little off camera there. Now let's get into the extra cards. I play 4 Frieza's Call. This card is so good in this deck. Now, Frieza Call, what it does is choose 1 Frieza army card of cost 2 or less from your deck and play it in rest mode. Now, let's see the targets that it can hit first off. It can hit Doria, Sorbet, Apul, Sooey, Avenging Frieza, Goldel, Raccoon, and Birder. It hits everything in your deck but Jace, Ginyu, and Mecha Freezes. But everything else you see here, it can hit. Now, the best target that I usually go for almost all the time is Birder, because Frieza's Call puts the battle card in rest mode, and as you know from earlier, Birder at the end of the turn switches card to active mode. So usually this card, people think that you can be punished by playing a card in rest mode, that they can just straight up attack it then, there's no point. But for Birder, that doesn't happen, because at the end of the turn, it just stands back up. So that's usually the best target that I go for. But there are times where you want to hit other things. Sometimes you want to hit Avenging Frieza, and since this card says when you play this card not from hand, Frieza's Call will trigger his effect looking at the top 3. So you can use this to search for him to thin your deck out even more if you'd like to in the early game. And then late game, the good one to also hit is Goldo. Now sure, you lose the effect of him. Well, you pretty much lose the blocker side of him, but at least you still get the auto part where you get to rest one of their 2 costs or less. So at late game, you can bring this guy in, tap, rest down their blocker or their comboer, just something problematic on the field, or just get rid of some resources out of their field. And then the nice thing about Frieza's Call is it works well with the leader. So after you use Frieza's Call to hit Goldo to say, okay, I want to rest your 1-drop. After that, since Goldo is pretty much used to now, he can't be used as a comboer or as a blocker. Use Frieza's effect, KO him, activate 1 of your energies, and draw a card. So now Frieza's Call became free because he untapped 1 or reactivated 1 energy, but you also draw a card out of your deck. That's why I think Golden Frieza is probably the best case for this deck in consistency wise, because it lets you reuse your guys after they've been Frieza called. So that's why I'm playing this, because I'm playing 4 Frieza's Call. And it just also feels good to constantly reuse your energies and get them to draw through your deck. I play also 2 Cold Bloodless. I don't play 4 of this card. It's good and all, but you don't want your deck to have too many extra cards. And it's pretty much in there to go against certain cards that are problematic. So what it does is when they play one of their battle cards, that's your timing to use this counterplay. If your leader is a Frieza army, which it is because you're playing Golden Frieza, so this card is pretty much meant to be in only a yellow deck, or not yellow deck, but only with yellow leaders for now. But if your leader is Frieza's army, the battle card played has its skills negated for duration of turn. Now, what it means by skills negated is everything. Everything in the card text itself is gone. So let's say you played against an enemy Ginyu Force, right? They drop an Elite Force, Captain Ginyu. You play counterplay, this guy becomes a 25k. That's it. He doesn't have the double strike, he doesn't gain the buff, he loses everything. So he just becomes a 25k. Or let's say they used it on Goldo. They lose the blocker and they lose the auto effect. So, and then not only does it stop that, but it makes, no matter what, if you give it double strike later on in the same turn, it won't gain the effect. So pretty much it makes the card stay a blank vanilla card for the whole turn. So they drop Ginyu, he lost his double strike, and then they try to play, let's say, Furthering Destruction Champa, which gives a battle card, actually any card on the field, double strike. He won't gain the double strike because of Cold Bloodless. So the wording on this is a little weird, but that is how it works. Pretty much it makes every card a flat vanilla stat minion, and no matter what you give to it later, it won't gain it for the duration of turn. for the whole turn, it's stuck there as what it is. And then 3 Crushable. This card is really good. I used to play it as a 4 of, but I felt like there were just a lot of times where I had a dead card in hand, and Crushable sometimes couldn't be played because this deck doesn't really, what's it called, ramp. It doesn't gain a lot of energy, doesn't charge as fast as other decks. So most of the times your turn is taken up by playing any of the other cards. But Crushable is very good. So what it does is counter play. So when they play a card again, the battle card played is played in rest mode. So unlike Cold Bloodless, it doesn't negate it or anything like that. But if they played a triple striker or a double striker or dual attacker, you put them in rest mode. Dual attack won't trigger because it never did the first battle to begin with, so it won't reactivate to do the second attack. So let's say they dropped a Mecha Freeza on me, they KO 2 of my guys, this guy's dual attack, double strike, he's coming in for a lot of damage. I'm like, so what you do is just like, okay, I would like to Crushable it. So he will still KO your 2 guys, but at least now he won't do the potential 4 damage that he had since he has dual attack and double strike. So he could have attacked me for 2, reactivate, attack for 2. So this slows down their plays and slows down their turn that they're trying to end you with. So that's pretty much the deck profile right there, guys. Let's see if there's a clear look on everything. That's the whole deck right there. This is how I built. This is how I fit the Ginyu Force package into this build. Right now, I think in yellow, you pretty much got to go this build at the moment until there are more Frieza cards, so you can play the Frieza package. The Frieza package right now is a little slow, but I'll get into that in the next video. But right now, I think the best way is to utilize the Ginyu Force package because they're cheap, they're efficient, and they can be just swarm the board and end the game when you drop Ginyu here. So I feel this deck is very strong. I have a lot of fun with it. It's insanely fun. The plays are very kind of linear. They can see what you're doing most of the time, but it doesn't matter if you just swarm their board so much. I played against many decks. I played against Broly, I played against Champa, against Vegeta and all that, and for the most part I've had a good win rate against them. So that's my take, guys. Thanks for watching and good luck.